those of you who are parents, you understand what's going through your mind at this. You have a 6-year-old son. He's severely autistic. He can't speak. Someone comes through the window. Your first thought is not your own self or your possessions. You're thinking of your child. She realizes they're coming through the house. They're coming through a blanket that she's put over the window. She puts a blanket over her son and starts running. She opens up the cages for the 2 dogs first, looks in 2 of the 3 places where her gun would be, and it's in the 3rd. They've moved now 3 illegal aliens and her into the bedroom. They have duct tape that they've just bought, which they're going to tie her up with, and Lord knows what 3 Mexicans would have done to her and her son in the next room. Can you imagine what's going through her mind, what she's about to be put through in her own home? Northwest of Houston in Magnolia, this is going on. There's her baby boy in the next bedroom. Her husband's at work. These 3 Mexicans are opening up this duct tape. One of them's got a knife, one of them's got duct tape, and the other one has a gun trained on her. She's praying that something will distract them so she can grab her gun. Is all that right, Aaron?
Yes, sir. Except for the part of my son, he's Down syndrome, not autistic.
I'm sorry. Okay. So he has Down syndrome. You know he's hearing all this. You're worried, not for what will happen to you, but for him having to hear this.
And at this point, I don't even know if he's still in his bed anymore.
Right. So then what? Slowly.
So at that point, I just started praying to God, just give me something, please. And then my dogs literally just appeared full force side by side, and they all 3 turned and looked at her and the other one, and I grabbed my gun, cocked it, and I aimed for the center part of the body mass, the largest part, and the middle one I shot him in his stomach. Now that I know it was his stomach, I thought more of it was his right side. They both turned and looked at him. The first guy with the gun ran back out through my son's room, the window. The guy I shot turned, followed him. The 3rd guy ran and hid in my husband's closet. I went after him, stood over him about 2 feet from him, pointing the gun at him, and he had his head covered and looking up at me. And my gun is it's a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson, got hollow points in it, and it has a safety trigger pull on it because I'm in the process of trying to get into the police academy at HPD, and that's the gun for the police academy. So there's a little safety trigger pull, but at that second, my son appeared in my face, and I didn't know if he was still there, hurt. I didn't know if they had maybe shot him on the way out because I couldn't hear anything, or and I didn't even know if he was still there. And I guess maybe he thought my gun had jammed. He came after me. We wrestled around in my bedroom. I kept pointing the gun away from me. That's all I kept was keep the gun away from me. And I kept telling him over and over and over again, I was like, I'm going to kill you, you mother effer. I'm going to kill you, you mother effer, over and over and over again. Got down on the ground somehow, and I was on my side, and he kneed me in the face. And at this point, I had one hand on the gun. I just kept it pointed away from me, and I was fighting him and trying to get him off of me. And
wait. I don't understand how what just happened.
How what now?
So your son, Caden, coming into the room distracted you?
No, the dogs.
Okay. And at that
dogs
point,
came into the room, and that happened when he was when he was crouched down in the closet, and I was standing over him, pointing the gun at him. My son appeared in my mind, like I didn't know if he was still there or hurt, and it was just like that. The thought of him was more important at that moment to go to see if he's still there, and that's when he saw that opportunity. It allowed him a half of a second to come at me. Does that make sense? Like,
okay. So then describe how y'all are tussling at that. I mean, he's on top of you.
That's how we ended up. But he came after me, and I turned to go away from him, and he came after me. He put his hands on my hands with a gun, trying to take it away, and I just kept it pointed for me, and I was just fighting him. I had a death grip on that thing, and I was not letting it go, and I was just yelling at him, and I told him I was going to kill him. I was going to kill him, and we got down somehow on the ground, and he kneed me in the face, and at this point I had one hand on the gun, and then he just jerked it. At this point he has the upper hand because he's on top of me, and I'm down on the ground, and my arm's stretched way out, and he just jerked the gun from me and took off and ran and went through the window. I jumped up, ran after him, and he went through the window he came out with, and I just stood there, and I looked at Caden. He's just laying in his bed, covered up, but like he was going to bed, and his eyes were just wide, and he was just looking around. He looked at me, and I was like, come here, and he wouldn't get up, and I scooped him up, and he felt like he weighed 100 pounds. It's like I could barely pick him up, and I scooped him up, and I ran out of the room and ran down the hallway, threw him in the bathroom and shut the door, and ran and grabbed the shotgun behind the laundry room door, and then grabbed bullets. And at this point, I just processed what had happened, and I was like, I don't even know if these bullets even go to this gun now, and grabbed my cell phone, and I called my neighbor Mitch first, because he'd be here faster than anybody. And he was here when he left his house. After I hung up with him, I called 911, and what he told me is when he came down the street, he saw a car parked on the next lot over, and he ducked and went through the woods and came up through the woods that way and into the house, and he was screaming for me, and I came out.
Erin, why did you shoot the middle one instead of the gunman?
They were standing like shoulder to shoulder because the dog startled them, and they were like literally shoulder to shoulder with each other. So
Did you ever watch The Outlaw Josie Wales?
Huh?
Did you ever watch The Outlaw Josie Wales?
No.
Well, one of the things Josie Wales always did is he had this unique ability to shoot the one that was his greatest threat first.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying.
Maybe that was the one that was going to hurt me. I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. So did you shoot the one that was closest to you?
They were all three even from me. They were all three standing probably about 10 feet from me.
Okay.
And I just aimed and shot. I just focused center point, largest part of body mass, and what I did.
All right. So from the time you get the gun, so the gun was behind the curtain.
Uh-huh.
So you open the curtain when they're momentarily distracted. You grab the gun, you turn and fire all in one motion.
Yep. It was like within a half of it. I was still moving, like I was trying to move the mattress when my dogs came in. So I was trying to keep moving and not standing still so that they would see me move, and that would spark them. I just kept moving. I kept moving that curtain with my leg so that wouldn't trigger them to look at me, to cause any sort of other distraction, because I knew that I had one opportunity only to do what I needed to do.
So
and
you turn.
I wasn't going to mess that up.
No, I'd say you did it right. So you turn and fire the first round, which has to be deafening at this moment.
Yeah.
Did you hear it? Because people that tell me in situations like that their adrenaline's flowing, they never heard it.
It didn't, not like when I go out and shoot my gun. No, it wasn't very loud.
Okay, so you fire. He's hit. He goes down?
Nope. He grabbed himself. The other two turned and looked at him. And then the first one with the gun ran. The guy I shot was right behind him. And the third one ran and hid down in the closet.
Okay, but not the one that you shot?
No.
Okay.
He took off and running. And they had a long distance to run to their little getaway car, too.
Okay. So why did the third one not get out of the house?
I don't know. I guess he got scared. He ran and crouched in my husband's closet. And then right there was another shotgun. He was on top of it.
Oh, did you know that?
I know he keeps guns in his closet, but that particular moment, I didn't know it was like right there. He was like sitting on it.
Oh.
He didn't. I guess he was so scared that he.
Did it have a round chamber? Did you ever? Oh,
it is loaded.
Wow. Okay. So, how did you know he was in your husband's closet?
Because my husband, he's a hunter, and he always. I mean, we have several shotguns. No.
How did you know that this illegal alien Mexican was in your husband's closet at that moment?
He ran right when the first two ran out. He ran in my husband's closet. He ran.
Oh, you could still see him.
Yeah, they were all in my room. He just went whoop, right into the closet.
Wow. Did you ever, after this, think to yourself, maybe I should have just started firing into the closet?
Yes.
Okay, so you go over to him.
I should have. I stood over top of him, and I don't know.
Were you sure at that point that the other Mexicans had left?
Yes. I saw them both exit.
Okay.
They both just took off. Like, they didn't even. And
so
they
at
left
this
their
point,
friend behind.
At this point, the mother in you came out, and you're going to go over there and lecture him a little bit.
At this point, my son was more important to me at that moment, and I thought to myself, I have the gun, and at this point, I didn't know if Caden was even still in his bed, and a half of a second can literally make or break a situation where if they were on their way out with him or whatever, those are the people I needed to go after.
Right.
You know, that's what went through my mind. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes through your mind at one time. It's amazing what the body and the mind can
Oh,
handle.
sweetie, I'm the guy who on Friday night when I met Willie Nelson couldn't find the voice memo on my phone. That wasn't exactly life-threatening.
I
So
love Willie Nelson.
trust me, I understand how this can happen. All right, so at this point, you don't know where your son is.
Yeah, at this point, I didn't know if he was still in his bed or not, and that's when it gave him that opportunity, that split-second opportunity to come after me. And then wrestled around, got that black eye, and then he took off. And then
Yeah, I haven't seen your
ran
picture yet, but the Channel 2 reporter said you got a nasty black eye when he needs you in the face.
Yeah, but he hits like a girl.
He does?
Yeah,
Okay.
he does.
How tall are you?
I'm about 5'7" and a half, 5'8".
How weight?
I bet I weigh 150.
And what about him, the Mexican?
He was a little shorter than me, but he's still a guy. You know?
No,
So
sure.
he's still a guy. He's a little shorter than me, but he's still, you know.
What's going through your mind while you're tussling with this guy? You have a gun in your hand, knowing good and well if he gets hold of this gun, you've already shot one of them.
He's going to shoot me. I just thought he was going to shoot me because I just shot his buddy. That's what was going through my mind. And when I was wrestling around with him, I just kept telling him I was going to kill him. I was going to kill him. If I didn't have my, you know, my gun, and if I'd have lost my gun, I would have went straight for his eyeballs. Like,
Yeah.
I'd have blinded him.
That's
I'd
better.
have put my thumbs right in his eyes. I mean,
I'm just glad you were going to hit him in the eyeballs because I had a moment there. I was worried. So he gets the gun away and runs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does he go out the window this time?
Yeah, he went. I watched him go right out the window because I got as soon as he jerked the gun, he took off. I jumped up. I was right behind him.
And what were you going to do?
I don't know. I was right behind him. I was running right after him. I was running to go see because they went out the same room, and I was right behind him. And I was, Caden is, you know.
All right. So when he left, so you went immediately to take care of Caden, or did you check and see where they were going?
No. When he went out the window, I just looked over at Caden, and he looked at me, and I was like, get up, get up, get up. And he wouldn't get up and come to me, and he felt like he weighed 100 pounds. Like I could barely pick him up.
How much does he normally weigh?
58.
Oh, okay. So
but it's just I was so exhausted. Like
right.
You know, I was so exhausted, and I picked him up and ran down the hall and threw him in the bathroom and shut the door.
So your neighbor came over.
Mm-hmm.
You called 911.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what went through your husband's mind when you called him to tell him what had just. I mean, I can't imagine.
I just screamed in
as
the
a
phone.
husband.
He's here listening in the truck to you right now.
I can't imagine. I feel for that man. So then we now know that the guy checked into Memorial Hermann.
He after my neighbor came over and got us, and we went to his house. You know, I was on the phone with 911 when he came over because he was the first one I called. And after the police secured everything, was standing in the driveway, they wouldn't let me back in because now it's a crime scene. I had no shoes, I had no glasses, I couldn't see. I was barefoot, and I was like, please, my glasses, I know they're in my bedroom on the floor. I can't see anything. The call came in on his radio, and it said, Hispanic male just admitted into Tomball Regional Hospital, gunshot wound to the right side. And then he goes, I'm on it. And then he just took off and got in his car and left. And then
I'm sorry, who's on it?
The police officer goes,
Okay.
I'm on it. And he just took off. Like he went to go to the hospital.
Okay.
One of the cops did. And then later on, as the night came, you know, all these investigators and people had to, you know, fingerprint, you know, do all that stuff everywhere. And one of the investigators told me, and I said, you know, is he alive? Is he dead? And he said, well, he's been life flighted to Hermann. And at 4 o'clock that morning, they thought he was in surgery, and they expected him to make a full recovery. So,
all right, hold on, Eric. Hold on,
okay.
Sweetie. Hold on just a moment. All right. In this next segment, I would like to hear from someone by email that you will take care of a new security system for her and whatever else y'all want to do for this nice lady. Coming up next.
Proud to be an infidel.
Let that sink in for a moment.
The Michael Berry Show.
You understand